Guys, just wanted to take this time to show you how to set up your Microsoft Publisher template. So we're going to go ahead and start Microsoft Publisher. You're going to go ahead and search for it on the Start menu. You can either just type it in and search for it if you're using a PC, or search through your programs to find it. If you're running a Mac, I'm not really sure how you open it up, but I'm assuming it's going to be in your Microsoft Office folder within your hard drive on your MacBook. So once we get to this page, we're going to want to go ahead and open up a blank 8.5 by 11. We're going to want to make sure it is in portrait style. And this is the main layout that it looks like what you see when you are opening Publisher. It looks kind of similar to Microsoft Word, except you have all your pages that show up over here on the left side of the page. The difference between Publisher and Word is a lot of different things, but essentially you have to think of Publisher as one big gigantic text box. So you can drag and move and manipulate things wherever you want it to go. Whereas in Microsoft Word, you're going to have to enter down, and it sets each line, on the left side of the page by default, unless you center it or right justify it or all those different things. So that's why one of the reasons why we're going to go ahead and use Publisher for this project. The first thing we're going to want to go ahead and do is go ahead and go to Insert. And we're going to want to go over here to what's called a picture placeholder. This is actually going to create a box for us, as you can see right here, for where we'll grab our pictures from. Now, of course, you can resize this however way you need to, and this will change its size depending on what size your actual picture is. So I'm just going to go ahead and make it about this big, just because it makes it about equal to about a half a page. And we're going to go ahead and put it kind of right in the center. We'll tweak this at a later point. What happens is once we've clicked out of this and we're ready to put in our pictures after we've created our template, all we have to do is actually go right here and double click, and it's going to open up and directly to where our picture is going to be. So when we need to put our picture in of our invasive species or threatened or whatever it may be, that makes life kind of easy. For now though, we're going to go ahead and just cancel this out. So our picture placeholder is staying here. We also, as you know on your template, are going to also need to have a title for each page. So we're going to go again back over to Insert. We're going to draw a text box. And we're going to put our text box kind of about right here, almost through the center of the page. And before we really get any further into this, I should have told you guys, make sure when you first start this will simplify your life. If you go over to the View tab and you click on 100%, so this will actually show you what it will actually look like if it were printed out, and it zooms in a little bit more and you can actually see it and read it. So for now, going back to our heading for our types of species. Remember, this will be your type of species on each of your different templates. Now, will it say type of species in each template? Hopefully you can kind of determine that answer is no. It's going to be the exact titles that you need it to be. Alright, so for each page, which there are 7 of them, they will be represented by either our indicator, extinct, keystone, threatened, endangered, etc., etc. Quick question for you though. What is the first one that it needs to be? Well, if you look on your species report project, the very first sheet I gave you all last week that had kind of the layouts that said on the very big in the bottom, full report due on Monday, which we crossed out to Wednesday. If you go down to the middle of the page, which shows you your final layout of your project will need to be in the following order. It shows you your cover page and what needs to be on it, and then it gives you keystone, invasive, threatened, endangered. So hopefully you're able to tell me when I just asked that question that keystone will be your first page. So we'll type in keystone species. We're going to want to make this a bit bigger. It's really up to you. You're going to have to tweak with this when you finally get all your information on there. We're also going to want to bold this. You can change this to whatever font you want it to be, but I'm going to be a stickler about this. Your font that you decide it to be must be consistent throughout the entire project. We need to have continuity stay the same. And continuity means that it's going to be nothing changing, so each format of each page will look exactly the same with the exception of our information that will need to be there. I went ahead and clicked out of that box, and as you can see, I kind of clicked down where our picture holder box is, so it's showing us there. I'm going to see if we can actually format this just a little bit And for now, I am going to go ahead and do this. So if you go over to colors and lines, and you pick whatever color you want it to be. This is just for me, Mr. ADD, and when things disappear, can't really see them. This gives me, by changing the color, a graphic visual representation to see where this is, for where our box is for our picture. Again, though, anytime you double click on it, it's still going to open up to search for where your picture is going to be. So it's still acting as that picture placeholder. Again, we'll go ahead and cancel this one out. So the next step is going to be, we need to add our text boxes. So we're going to go back to Insert, and we're going to draw another text box. We're going to want to put this right underneath it. And if you line it up about to where you're going to want to bring this out to the margins, and how you'll know is when you've kind of locked in or snapped to those margin lines, those blue, is you will actually see that color change a little bit more. If you see it's a little faded here, and then if you pull over, it all of a sudden lights up or kind of gets a little more defined blue. So that's where you know you're at the edges. It looks like it does expand past, the box does, past the edges, but don't worry about this. If you see right here where your cursor is, it is actually staying right within the edge of those margin lines. So we're going to want to go ahead and drag this down. We're going to bring this all the way down to that bottom margin. And as you can see over on the right margin line, that is actually still highlighted, extending all the way to the bottom of the page. What happens down here is as we drag this down and we actually get close to that margin line, you're going to see that the margin line gets a little bit brighter, and it also extends to the end of the page. There it is. So once you've gotten there, that's where you want it to be. Be very meticulous with this. Once you've gotten to this, you can lift up your mouse click, and it will actually create your text box there. So now we've got our text boxes set up. Well, we need to get the basic information to set up for being in here. So as we again look on to our project report, the half page we need to have is we need our first title to be background information. And guys, make sure, do not do what I just did, and capitalize everything. We'll enter down. Let's enter down 2 times, and then we'll go ahead and type in our identifying characteristics. We're going to do our reason for the status. So why is this considered an endangered, a keystone, a threatened, an indicator, an invasive? That is the reason for the status. And it's not a broad definition. Well, because this keystone species, again, we'll use that golden retriever example, because that the keystone species is something that keeps everything in check, and it plays a keystone like an arch does. Yeah, that is the important information, and that does define what it is, but it doesn't tell us how the golden retriever in that particular environment that it belongs to is a keystone species. So make sure you are representing that and explaining that part in detail. That is a very important step at this point. The next line down, this is going to have to change for each of your pages depending on what the type of species is. And this line is going to be our solutions or successes or possible courses of action for protection or removal. So for what I'm going to do, solutions / successes / possible course of action for protection / removal. I'm going to tell you guys right now, go ahead and highlight this box that you've created and make it a color red. Make it bold, and then this hopefully should trigger you to showing that this has got to change. These other boxes here, we're also going to bold them as well. And I know most of you are probably lazy and you want to just highlight all of this. If you do this and then hit bold, it's going to make your life a little more tricky, because once you come down here to enter your actual informative text, it's going to also be bolded. So we just want to highlight each individual line. We'll bold those. And I think we should probably go ahead, just for looking nicer, we probably should let's make these, for now we're going to make these 16. It looks about right. Important point here is these sizes will have to change when you get your information in here that you need for your entire report. So you may have to drop these sizes down. Remember, this one will of course be much smaller. It will either say solutions for protection or solutions for removal or successes for protection, successes for removal, or whatever it needs to be. Remember, that's in red. So we've got the main points down here so far. If we look on our half sheet, our next spot is also asking for displaying pictures of our species. Well, we've got that picture up there. Number 6 on here says a map of the native habitat and or a map of the current distribution of the species. Alright, we'll get to that here in a second. The last one we need is number 7, which is our law. And this is going to be law, let's call it a pertinent law. We want to make sure we change this back to black. And we want to drop this line here that we created down back to an 11. We should have done this in the first place. It's made those there, and unbold it. And now you can go ahead and input all of your information in here. What normally you would do is font, if you were actually working in a publication setting, you would put this thing called lorem ipsum, which is what you saw in the template last week. And lorem ipsum is just text folder. I have not found a place here yet in Publisher that you can actually use lorem ipsum. You can insert that into it, but we're just going to give some fill for right this minute. Once you've gotten all your fill in that you need, whoops, we're going to make sure that one's black. That was another issue we had there. And I'm going to try to enter down right now. I'm trying to enter text under pertinent law. And what you can see here is we've got these big red, I'm going to zoom out so you can see this full page. We've got this big red lines all around, not lines, but dots where our sizes are, where we can change the size to it. And this is basically trying to alert us that, hey, you don't have enough room, you're going to have to resize your text box. What we can do is we can actually click this button here, and what this does, don't know what that was saying. So if you right click this, nope, that's not working. What we need to do is we need to adjust our text box, which is under format, and we need to go to our text fit. So we need to change this box and make sure you're not clicking a line here where the cursor is. We need to make sure we've just clicked the box. So again, we're going to go up to Text Tools, make sure the box is clicked, like here it is now. We're going to go to Text Fit, and then we're going to hit Best Fit. And you can see now that it's basically auto-adjusted our font sizes that we need it to fit all of our information. Again, this is a bold, and now we can get everything we need to get in here. And as you can see, as I continue to start typing, what happens is my things start shrinking down. As you can see there. So this will, by having this best fit happen here in text box, this will make life pretty simple. Once you get things done, you may want to still, tweak something, maybe make this just a little bit bigger just so these stand out some more. Whatever you might need to do, just so it just looks visually appealing. Make sure though, guys, you make your sizes the exact same. So if we're going to make 11 here now, make this 11, make this 11, which we, alright, etc., etc. One of the last things we need to do is we need to go ahead and insert not our picture, but we need to go ahead and insert our map. So we're going to go down to, or go up here to our Insert tab, click that, and we're going to insert a picture. And you're going to need to search wherever you saved that picture for that map for your setup. For me, I saved this one on my desktop, double click it, and it's putting it right here in the center of the page. Yeah, we don't want it there. So we'll go ahead and bring this down over here, and I'm going to pause for 1 second. Okay, so we're coming back to this, and we've just now clicked to insert our map here. And what this is also great with Publisher is that this also auto-fits our text to wherever we need it to be so that our map can go where it needs to go. Well, of course our map's not supposed to go there. As you see in your template example, we want our map on the bottom right corner. Again, we want this to snap to our margin, so we're going to move it over till we have that right margin line light up. There it is. And drag it down till we have the bottom one light up. There we go. And then it sets it there. And look what it nicely did for us. It auto-fit and adjusted our text all around this so that it works. You have pretty much now at this point, guys, you have set up your template. Makes life kind of easy. The last things you need to do before you submit for each page is, of course, make sure graphically it looks right, spelling, grammar, all that is done. And you'll, of course, probably need to adjust your text boxes depending what size your picture is. Just for example here, let's put in this picture of Michael. Goes pretty big, adjusts it, whatnot. But if we want to adjust our picture box down of Mikey, we can just drop this down, and it stays in this picture box for us. What you'll do is you can then, I think you can delete, nope, you can't do that. But you should be able to have this auto-fit. So I'll tweak with this and give you guys some pointers in class about that. But if you do drop your box down for your picture, you can have this there. Then make sure you don't have so much white space, and let's expand our text box down below. And that will make this font and text down here a little bit bigger. So just adjust those few things. I'm going to go ahead and undo everything I just did. By doing this, I'm just hitting Control-Z. So now we're back here, because I want you guys to have just the basic template. From here, we're going to go ahead and now need to make our 7 different pages. So we'll go over to this box right here, where our page is. We are going to right-click it, and we're going to hit Insert Duplicate Page. There's 2, there's 3, 4, 5, 6, 7 pages we've got. Now we've got our 7 pages. Next up we should do, remember first page was Keystone. Next page is also going to say Keystone, but we need to make it say Invasive. Make sure you've got page 2 highlighted because they all are going to look the same now. We'll go over to our text box. We'll type in Invasive. Our third page is going to be Threatened. And so on and so forth. I'm not going to give you guys the answers to all the rest of these. You guys can go ahead and do those as you need to. One of the very last things you do once you have all your information in here is you are going to go ahead and you will export it to a PDF. I'll make another video on how to do that, but one last pointer I need to do for you guys to see is that you need to recognize that once we save this, it will show me, and I will make sure that you take a picture of this and you submit this with your file, that you are the creator of this. I need you to save this as what your report says. I think it's last period number, underscore, last name, first name, capitalize this or else you lose points, and save it to wherever you need it to be saved. For now, I'm just going to save it to the desktop. What I'm going to have you take a picture of, again, is in your final submission one, but what this is going to do is make sure that it shows that you are the creator of this. If I see that someone else created it and it's so simple for us to see this and you cannot manipulate that information, then you will lose points, your friend will lose points that gave you the template that they made, and you will both be turned in for honor code violations. If you fail to take that picture and submit it in, you will automatically lose up to 25 points in your project, so the most you can get is a 75. I will not accept this. This is no joke. You must make sure that you have actually spent the time to manipulate through Microsoft Publisher and learn this. I know you guys are going to do great. I trust that you will make this your own, and I hope this video was informational.